got with us on the line to discuss some of these changes political scientist Dr. BISHNU Ragoonath. Welcome, Dr. Ragoonath. And we want to ask you, do you think it was a good move to change the Minister of Local Government mere weeks before the local government elections, or does it not make a difference?
Well, it doesn't make much of a difference at this point in time. The UNC and the People's Partnership seems to believe that they have things in train for the local government elections. And whether or not they had Mr. Ramachan or Ms. Kudre as the head of that ministry, it doesn't really make much of a difference, because basically they are the ones who head the ministry. What we are looking at now is the representatives for the people on the ground, and that is what is important. And that is more of a party issue rather than a ministry issue.
And Gary Griffith, the former captain in the Defence Force as well as National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister, how well will such an experience serve him in his new portfolio?
Well, it should serve him well in the new portfolio. We've heard Gary Griffith making comments and statements quite a while back now as to some of the shortcomings of the Ministry of National Security and even the ministers and what some of the things that he would have proposed. He now has the opportunity to actually bring his ideas into policy and make them, try them in the national arena. So one could only hope that things could be improved. I mean, we have reached a stage now where it's better to try something rather than to continue the way we were going.
Mr. Griffith resigned from the UNC recently. Is it necessary for a government senator to have a political affiliation?
It's not necessary for a minister to have an affiliation with any political party. But it helps if the minister is affiliated to the party that is, that is in government, for the mere fact that the minister will be able to follow directives from the political leader. If he or she does not think that they are under the control of any whip, so to speak, then they may very well decide to do whatever they want to do without control. So I think the government, and here I'm talking more of the Prime Minister, may have had serious discussions with Mr. Griffith long before him being offered the position, and thereupon feel confident that he will continue to carry government's policy in that ministry.
And what are your thoughts on creating an entirely new ministry for land and marine affairs, which was once under food production and then most recently under housing?
Well, that could probably be a good move from the point of view that marine affairs, land management is something that I think the government has to focus on now, particularly so. And we noted that in the Prime Minister's speech, she talked about delivery, and increasing the speed of delivery. And I think that is what she has to do now, because clearly the government cannot build adequate houses to put people in. Land management and will have to become more critical as to how you're going to allocate lands to people and how you're going to deal with the squatting issues and all of those issues. All of those issues fall under land management. And I think separating it from the Ministry of Housing could work in the government's favor, particularly so when one arm of the ministry is simply trying to put people in houses and the other arm may be trying to prevent squatting and those sorts of things. So it might work in the government's interest. We'll have to wait and see how it actually works. But again, the government is trying all sorts of things now. I mean, because we know two things. One, a local government election in a month's time or 6 weeks' time, and two, a general election in 2 years' time. And they have to do things now to make them more attractive to the population.